There can be no perfect action where there is a sense of separation. Murdo MacDonald-Bayne. My teaching is not my own but his who sent me. John 5:16, The present is the only time there is. I have often written to you about this, but I know that the great significance of this truth has not fully dawned upon you. Starting from the beginning, all know that there is but one God and there is none other beside him. There is no other being, no other force. There is but one being, and this being is our being. It must be so, for it cannot be anything else. If there is but one being, then we are that being, therefore that being must be you and me, for there is only one. If you are troubled with the past or have fears for the future, you are not being now. Being exists only in the present, which is the only time there is. You can think only in the present, you cannot think in the past or in the future. You can think about the past or think about the future, but is this not conditioned thinking? For the past and the future can only be in the mind. Pure thinking is creating in the present, not thinking about the past or the future. Some people are always harping upon the, if it had been this or that, things would be different now. It is this if of the past that is preventing the present from being what it should be in your life. You cannot call the infinite good in the sense that there is evil. Good and evil cannot exist as opposing each other, they exist as opposites only in the mind. There is no such thing as a negative power which is not of the one all-originating power. The negative power does not oppose the all-originating power, but is a complement of it, just as the North Pole and South Pole are interrelated to one another to create attraction. The one force creates them both. It is the same in the atom, the electron is the product of the proton. Similarly, life is a higher form of action. All energy is the same mode of manifestation of the one. It is always making something, and in so doing it may unmake something else. What is known as negative force is the operation of the cosmic law of transition from one form to the other. When we understand this, we see within ourselves the same law in operation. In the ordinary sense, in the mind of man, good is that which gives pleasure, bad is that which gives pain, whether outwardly or inwardly, whether inside or outside the skin. That is a fact, is it not? Pleasure is what you want, so obviously you call it good. What you do not want you call bad. Don't let us fool ourselves and spin a lot of words about good and evil or God and the devil. If God is, the devil cannot be, therefore it is the non-existence of the devil that makes up the devil. God being infinite, there can be none other than he. Experience is essential to your freedom. Through experience you begin to realize what is behind the individual. Without experience you would be dormant, asleep in your limitation. Yet experience without discernment and continual adjustment in the present is but a repetition of error, which brings frustration and misery. But through continual adjustment, through experience and understanding, there is freedom. We say we do not want war, but we encourage all that breeds war. Being conditioned, we create a society after our own likeness, and having created such a society, it turns and exploits us, so it is again the vicious circle. There can only be a sane society when we ourselves are sane, and this goes for all governments and councils, national and international. You may laugh, but we are insane. For all are not clear-thinking human beings, we are unbalanced, therefore our society is unbalanced. The whole world is caught up in the appalling catastrophe of antagonism and conflict that leads to war and destruction, and we are the same. A sane person does not want to break it up. He sees the cause of antagonism and conflict, and begins to dissolve it, first in himself. Not until he dissolves it in himself can he help others to do so. To say it is my country and I must protect it, is not finding the cause but adding to the conflict. Therefore it is not a new plan or a new council we require to make us sane, but to know what we are in ourselves. What the matter with us is, that we are caught up in imitation. We wave flags, we listen to speeches which have no real understanding in them. We just become stimulated through imitation, which has all the indications of insanity. Many people rebel against past experiences, they fight, they struggle and become emotionally upset. This is the way to frustrate the present, so they become confused. If you are not confused, you are tranquil, and you will not wait for another to tell you what to do. you will immediately dissolve the cause within yourself. When we are confused in mind, we are confused in body. Most of our illnesses come from confusion of the mind in one way or another. The body is but the mind materialized. When we succumb to conditioning, we call the result bad or evil, so we create further conditioning and we resist the good. We create opposites within ourselves through misunderstanding the oneness of the spirit in its complete expression. When we understand the cause of our conditioning, it dissolves away and immediately we are free of opposites. When all our experiences are dissolved in the present by living in the presence now, all the forces of our true nature, made in His likeness, come into being. When we live in the past or the future, we live in the illusion of separation, and this means struggle and disappointment. It is the infinite life that is always present and is the only power there is. It is ever present in the individual and is not separated in another. When this is known through experience and is not merely an intellectual idea, all fear, all sense of right and wrong, all hates, all that frustrates you in the present is dissolved away. This is freedom. To attain freedom, you must see clearly and very definitely what is false, so that it drops away. To discern what is false, you must examine deeply and observe everything that you are doing, thinking, and feeling. Out of that you will not only discover what is false, but out of that will come a new vitality, a new energy that will make all things anew in mind, body, and circumstances. If you conform to a pattern, you will be in limitation, and if your pattern is not unfolding, there is frustration and failure. The infinite mind is complete being now, in which there is no limitation, no pattern to fill. This being must be our being, there is none other. In reality, there is no finite being as most people think. There is but one being. We must wear down our individual existence in the consciousness through discernment of the false and that which in the mind separates us from infinity. In this understanding only lies the purpose of our individual existence. The small I loses itself in the great I am, and I become I am that I am. The drop becomes the ocean where there is no separation, no division, no distinction. All great things that have ever been done by man were done when only the present existed, with nothing to interrupt the infinite having full expression through the individual that is in no way separate from the whole. Your whole being is life's expression. You do not identify yourself with infinite life, for you are infinite life. To identify yourself with infinite life, you put life apart from you. It only becomes an idea which is not reality. The Creator and His creation are one. While seeking to become, there can never be a cessation of this continuous struggle to become, living apart from infinity, which is an impossibility, for there is no separation in reality. When the I loses itself in infinity, there is no sorrow, no pain, no past, no future, no good, no evil, no birth, no death. There is only the presence of the omnipresence in spontaneous action. The wall of separation has worn away through the discernment of your own formulations. When this is complete, there is no longer any craving for the spiritual or the material, for the scar of individuality in the consciousness has ceased to be. It is the scar of individuality in the consciousness that is the cause of all struggle, the cause of all craving, the cause of this separate existence, the cause of fear, the cause of hate, the cause of past memories and future hopes and despair. There can be no perfect action where there is a sense of separation. It is the same mind working through the individual, the same mind that shaped the universe before it came into being. There is no difference in kind or quality, for it is the same and there can be no other. With this understanding, our thoughts will become the product of that which was in the beginning and will take form and shape as did the universe, for it is the Father who ever remains within me is performing His own deeds. Truly, truly I tell you, he who listens to my word and believes Him who sent me, has eternal life. He will incur no sentence of judgment, he has already passed from death across to life. John 5:24, Moffat. Benediction. O infinite being, I was lost in my finite self, seeking Thee afar off. While I was seeking to become, a never-ceasing struggle blinded me to Thy presence. I gave up the struggle, and, O infinite Father of mine, Thou revealed to me that we were one. Then Thy peace came in me, and in that peace Thou didst work in and through me. And as Thou didst fashion the universe within Thy being, so didst Thou express Thyself as my being. O mighty one, I am no longer afraid, for I see myself as my brother and my sister, for there is but one, and now my joy is complete, O wondrous one. My peace and my love remain with you. Yours very sincerely, Murdo MacDonald-Bayne.